Is it possible a neighbor would purposely feed somebody's cat a high sugar diet? It could be high fructose, it could be a sugar concentrate. As long as it's a sugar extract, could the neighbor possibly feed another person's cat that type of diet, that high sugar diet, out of spite? Well, we all know that neighbors can be cruel to other people's animals. I mean, I read in a book about Charlie. It's called Charlie Wilson's War, and they covered his early childhood, and they talked about how his neighbor fed his dog glass, and it instantly died. Okay, there are people who are so cruel they'll feed another neighbor's pet poison for the instant death. It'll be kind of obvious. They'll go for that quick, just um, let's say a violent death, and that'll put a lot of say evidence against them on that type of thing. They'll look suspicious for an untimely death. Say if the dog's only or cat or whatever's only like 4 or 5 years old, that'll look suspicious. That's just being a neighbor being stupid. But what about the ones that are even more underhanded? All right, there could be ones. There's ones that'll slowly poison the pets. Okay, I mean we've all heard about the wives dipping a little poison in the husband's coffee. Over time, they get sicker and sicker, and then eventually they figure it out. But doing it with sugar, that's like the acceptable poison. Okay, this girl's cat was just enormous, gigantic. It's just unbelievable how big it was. It sat on a toilet seat and it took up almost the whole toilet seat with its girth. I had to go pee at one time there, and I just the cat was so big. It was like moving a moose off of the toilet. I was flabbergasted. And I said, "Hey, why is your cat so fat?" She's like, she said the neighbors did that. The neighbors are feeding it. And I'm like, wow, it took me a few years. This is a few years back, and I'm like, just this morning, what if the neighbors were purposely feeding the cat a high fructose diet? They weren't trying to be generous or neighborly. Maybe it was their own cruel type of way to eliminate the cat. I mean, many people understand that sugar causes obesity. I've heard it time and time again. They're like, yes, it's bad. It's bad for you. It's going to get you fat, give you high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome. If they even know what metabolic syndrome is, or all those other problems associated, diabetes with being fat. But then they're like, oh, you know, a little bit doesn't hurt. But people can't stop eating this. If it's an extract or concentrate from any source, people can't stop eating it. Okay, I can understand the mechanical separation with cane sugar, but that'll even get you fat. But it'll get you fat. Cane sugar mechanical extraction is pretty darn effective these days. But I think that cat got fat because the neighbors really understood the how obesity comes along with sugar, and they're doing that on the cat. There are some cat foods straight up that'll get your pet fat. Okay, that are just awful. But they could add a little dip of corn syrup here and there too to really blow up their glandular cells, the fat cells too, and then keep the cat eating. That cat was in bad shape. I'm sure it's dead by now, as fat as it was. Um, but that's cruel too. I mean, sure, maybe the neighbors don't like the cats and they really want to watch it get fat for their own amusement. Maybe getting the cat fat helps them cope with dealing with this nuisance. Getting it fat so it can't walk around, and when it does walk, it waddles, so it's funny to watch. It could be their own amusement, but I mean, like for my mom's dogs, they were getting fat, and I said you should give them a higher protein diet, and then they started losing weight. It's that simple, but it's more complex because protein will constipate you too. Um, but some people, man, they know better but they'll still cause suffering on the pets. That's a terrible thing.